resilience is incredible. It's just it's simply unbelievable. You push the average Nigerian to the wall rather than recede or turn around to fight or attack the aggressor. The average Nigerian would rather break down the walls to further run away rather than attack. So even a goat, when pushed to the wall, we turn around and bite.
Is that where we are?
But Nigerians don't. We are docile. We want to stay in our comfort, in our comfortable cocoons. No one wants to stick out his neck. Everyone is afraid of his or her shadow. That's not how to grow a country.
That's not. I keep trying to tell them that's not a compliment.
No, it's not complimentary at all.
It's not complimentary at all.
No.
That you're a doormat.
Yeah, to do nothing is to die for nothing.
Well, the question would be, what can they do? What can they do?
Oh, civil populist agitation. Civil populist, because a leadership without checks and balances can go dictatorial, absolutist, like Louis XIV of France, who on the 13th of April, 1566, stood in front of Parliament and declared famously, l'état, c'est moi, I am the state. Because he had no checks and balances. So even in our own homes, if we don't have checks and balances from our wives, from our children, from our husbands, we go dictatorial. So Thomas, it was, who said, the only price we have to pay for our liberty is eternal vigilance. That's Justice Leonard Hand. And Thomas Jefferson once said, when the leadership fears the people, then there is governance and justice enthroned. But when the people fear the leadership, then there is autocracy. Is that not what we are experiencing? Can Nigerians really challenge their leaders now? Everyone wants to join. If you can't beat them, you join them. That appears to be the Stockholm syndrome Nigerians are now suffering from. Stanley, when asked, how do you control the people? Why do you make them so malleable to you? He said, I give you an example. He said, give me a chick, give me a fowl. They brought a live chick, and he started plucking out the feathers one by one, with the chicken bleeding, croaking, screaming, yelling, in pains, in agony. Then when he finished plucking out the entire feathers, he dropped the chicken. He started dawdling away in pains. Then he said, watch me. He dipped his hand in his pocket and brought out some grains, and then called out to the same chicken that he had just tormented. The chicken ran back. Stanley bent down with his palm open, and the chicken started eating from the very palm of the person who had just tormented him. So I think the average Nigerian has been so pauperized that he's no longer in a state of melancholy or dejection, but rather in a state of helplessness and hopelessness and helplessness.
It's a terrible situation. I mean, we were just looking at Niger again.
Yeah. Niger.
It's coming. People think the flood is. No, there's more. Because every year, the same places.
We have Nigerian Meteorological Service, right?
Yes.
We also have NEMA. Some of these things are known ahead that there will be flood.
Flood warnings are given. Communities are stipulated.
So what do we do? What have we done effectively?
Is it a lack of accountability?
Lack of accountability.
No one is held responsible for it.
Negligence, lack of accountability, nobody being held responsible. Look, we're even lucky that we don't have severe natural catastrophes. Some countries suffer tornadoes, tsunamis,
volcanic eruptions, landslides. We are lucky with our terrain. And then mere flood comes and we see it ahead. What do? We're hit left, right, and center with disasters from here and there. Look at the killings have continued in Benue.
Not just in Benue.
Around the country.
In Plateau.
And the insecurity. I want to remind you of something that happened. Your captors have been sentenced to prison.
Yes.
I think they're in 20 years. Yeah. 20 years in prison. I remember then, and I kept thinking to myself, if Professor Mike was economic and be kidnapped, who am I? Who am I? And
the irony is that I was not targeted. They operated randomly. And this was in the hot afternoon, about past 2 p.m.
In the daytime?
On the 23rd of August, 2013. And I was released on the 12th of September, 3 weeks later. And that it could happen on a government highway, near a police post, a police station, on the way to Epoma. And the 4 policemen that were coming for my aid or to my aid were brutally gunned down in my presence. And the kidnappers made it clear that they didn't profile me, they didn't know who I was. It was about 2 days later when the news tweeted that they knew, and they came to me and said, sorry sir, we didn't know it was you we kidnapped. Had we known, we would have gone to drop you back, because you have been fighting for the common man, including us. It was so touching. And I said, okay, thank you very much. Now that you know who I am,
Can I be released?
Can I be released? They say, oh no sir, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. The vehicle you saw us use, we bought it specifically for the operation. We're going to, we have burnt it so that it won't be traced to us. So it's expensive to carry out this thing. Very well organized, educated youth, driven to this because of poor governance template. Governments that practice elections, what in my Wikipedia neologism I call electionocracy. That's what we practice. We just finished one election. Rather than settle down to govern, we're already looking forward towards another election with endorsements here and there of governorship candidates, of Mr. President, people falling over each other to endorse Mr. President, who has not been allowed yet to do his job for over 2 years. Bootlicking at its highest level. Decampments, cross-carpeting by governors who won on the platform of a political party, throwing all morals and decency to the winds, and then crossing over to the opposite party because you want to come back. It's like beans, akara, and momoy. They're the same. So they have no scruples because they don't have any ideological bifurcation. And that's where we are.
It's a very painful
and we are gradually driving, without knowing it, towards a one-party state. And it's a dangerous move if we are not careful. Because in a one-party state, dictatorship reigns supreme.
The president says we shouldn't worry about that. It's one party making a difference.
Yeah, no,
not a
dictatorship. You will see dictatorship because everybody will agree. National Assembly pocketed, we agree. Judiciary will be pocketed. And everybody will be saying yes, yes, yes. Dictatorship, absolute corruption, which can no longer be checked because everybody is there. The truth is that such a party will still implode later. Oh, history shows that it will implode. Listen, in this country, we watched PDP. They ruled for about 16 years, I remember. And it got so cozy for them, so beautiful, that at a time they said they were going to rule for 60 years. Right? Remember? It got so cozy that they even started deregistering members of the political party. Can you imagine? Instead of recruiting members, they were now deregistering members. Get out. But what happened at the end of the day?
Well, you see, someone has pointed out that these endorsement, these massive endorsements that have been given to the president, former President Jonathan got the same thing.
Yeah.
And lost the election.
Is
it possible?
Well,
is it possible that with all these endorsements, President Tinubu might lose the election? Because you have said that it is this election in 2027 will be, I'm going to coin a phrase, it will be our stomachs versus versus the president.
Yeah.
So is it possible that the Nigerian people might get to a point maybe in 2027 where they say, look, we now have to make other decisions. We don't.
But that has to come on the platform of a strong opposition. A strong opposition.
Do we have one?
There must be a political party platform that these Nigerians will coalesce into. We saw that virtually happen during Peter Obi's Labour Party.
In 2023.
In 2023.
2027, do we have that sort of option?
I am yet to see. Because the opposition parties are themselves fractured. PDP has its own internal schism. Labour Party has its own internal schism. All the political parties. So with that, with a strategic person like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has been able to put in place in all the critical sectors of governance, is some people. All of them. From EFCC to DSS. Of course, the judiciary, that is providential. That is a Yoruba woman because she ended it. But with the legislature, the National Assembly, firmly under its lock and key. With the Ministry of Finance, Central Bank.
Some people might call that good politicking.
Yeah, well, whatever it is.
An astute politician has
politicking.
Boys everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
And puts them in places.
Yeah, they put them in places. So even the INEC chairman that had just been appointed to replace Mahmoud. So I see Tinubu virtually running against himself. That's what I see. I may be wrong. I want to challenge Nigerians to do something to prove me wrong, that Tinubu will not be running against himself in 2027.
Prof, we have to go on a short break.
Yeah.
When we come back, we'll be looking at your sector, the judiciary, and some of the games being played with this very critical sector, among other issues. So please, stay with us on Hard Copy. We'll be right back. Nation Conversation. And I'm about to take it to his area, the judiciary.
Yeah.
Now, we know with Jusun, when Jusun went on strike, I think some pockets in Jusun are still insisting that they are going to continue the strike. But generally, the negotiations have happened and they've come to some kind of resolution. But my question has to do with the questions that they are asking. Salary.
Yeah. 70,000
naira minimum wage
not being paid.
And then we saw the visuals of some of the courts. I wouldn't sit there. But it's a place where we are calling a hall of justice, and these places are dilapidated.
Dilapidated infrastructure. Judges still
writing with long hand.
Lack of incentives.
Is there a game we're playing here that might backfire on us?
I wouldn't know whether it's a game, but I just know that the judiciary has been ignored for too long. And it's garbage in, garbage out. It's what you sow that you reap. The judges themselves are human beings. They live in the same society. Where the policeman shoots a person for refusing to give a bribe of 500 naira. They live in the same society where the customs man turn his face and allow goods to be smuggled in. They live in the same society where the immigration officers will allow foreigners to infiltrate into the country without valid papers, to the extent that if you go around, you see Chinese people frying gari, frying akara balls and gari, granite, Chinese. They are out here. How did they come in? So the point I'm making is that in a society like that is infectious, that is contagious, you need to treat the judiciary respectfully, because they are to deliver justice between man and man, between man and government. The judiciary must be well funded, judges well paid, so that they can become like St. Michael, Archangel Michael, or St. John the Baptist, or even Jesus Christ, that can see bribe and turn away his face, because you say, what are they going to give me? After all, I'm taken care of. I have enough to feed myself and my family, to train my children. I have a house to retire to when I'm old. The present government, I must give kudos, has done something good in this respect through a new law last year, giving judges, for example, Supreme Court justices, I think they now get about 54 million naira per annum. That translates to maybe about 54, 56. That translates to about 5.3 million naira per month. Well, it may not mean much in the present inflationary period, but it is a leap forward, and all judges' salaries have been increased. It was Justice Waifo about 20 years ago, during his valedictory sermon or speech, who said, a corrupt judge is more dangerous than a man armed with a dagger. He said the reason is that a man armed with a dagger can be restrained physically, but a judge that is corrupt destroys the moral fiber of the society. We have a proverb in my language. See, what does it mean? If you sell your head to buy a cap, which head will you have to wear the cap on? So if the people on whose behalf these new imperialist reforms are being carried out, if they die, if they starve and die before the bountiful harvest arrives, who will enjoy the harvest? That is when Mr. President has to look at it very critically and know that there's trouble, clear and present danger in terms of poverty, abject penury, grinding poverty. Nigerians are barely surviving.
People say this poverty is actually being weaponized.
Oh, it has been weaponized.
By this administration.
Yeah, yes, much weaponized. There's no doubt about that.
Hope 93. I want to quote something you said.
Yeah.
When you were talking about Hope 93 and the dream.
Yeah.
That people like you had for our country in 1993. Things have since gone from bad to worse.
Yeah.
Nothing is working. Nigeria appears to be lost in the labyrinth of successive bad leaderships, of state captors and political buccaneers, suckling dry the blood of Nigerians, their primitive acquisition instincts and bacchanalian propensity
to consume.
Yes.
I like that, my phrase. You must have seen that from one of my
writers. Yes. Bacchanalian propensity to consume are simply alarming. Nigeria today is anything between 1,400 to 1,800 per $1. inflation to an all-time high, with the vast majority impoverished, earning less than 30,000 naira a month. Fuel is untouchable and diesel unachievable. So I'm not happy with the country's situation today. It is not palatable. The common man is dying by installments.
Yeah, I think I wrote that somewhere. I said that somewhere. You are right.
Yeah.
The situation has not improved.
I mean, why we can't blame President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for everything that's happened in the country? He's only been here for 2 years.
Yeah.
Is there something he should be thinking about?
Yeah, we can't blame him for everything. That is true. But strong leaders are known when things are bad. People like President Dawood, Eisenhower, Winston Churchill, Abraham Lincoln, many presidents, Mahatma Gandhi.
Is it possible
presidents
to
who came when things were
bad
and
transformed?
Yeah, he has an historic opportunity to transform Nigeria around. For example, Mr. President should know that his budget was infused with about 11,126 extra items by the National Assembly, which cost 12.5% of the budget of 54.99 trillion naira. A government that wants to succeed must cut down wastages and leakages.
Your assessment of the Tinubu administration in 2 years: 1 being absolutely terrible, 10 being what we've been hearing the endorsement people saying that he's done a great job. Where would you rate his performance in 2 years?
I will say he came out boldly to square up to the challenges, but he's getting it wrong in the methodology that is applying. You have to live by example, not by precepts. You must let the country know that I feel your pains.
Not just saying it.
Not just saying it, because words are cheap. I feel your pains. I don't need that presidential jet I just acquired. We don't need 109 senators with about 54 committees, each of them fully equipped. 360 House of Rep members with about 79 committees. We don't need this. We need to cut down government. We don't need up to 45 ministers as we have them today. We don't need them. We need to block leakages. So when we are borrowing over 160 trillion, when are we going to pay it? We are mortgaging our future and the future of our children. I think the president should look inward, cut down drastically the oil subsidy that was meant to be, or that have been removed. Where are we investing into? What critical areas? I can see it. Now you are starting a Lagos to Calabar coastal area, about 11 to 12 billion dollars. How many trillions of naira? Is that really a priority at a time when there is hunger and starvation?
Your word to the Nigerian people as we wrap up right now. What can we say
my
to the Nigerian people?
My word to the Nigerian people: be resilient. Hold your governments accountable to the people, because the power is yours. It is not theirs. You merely send them as agents. You are the dog that wags the tail. They are the tail. A tail cannot wag a dog. But above all, be hopeful for a better tomorrow. Don't get disillusioned as to give up. Tomorrow, I believe, which is the today we talked about yesterday, will be better.
I want to thank you.
Did you listen to everything Mr. or Barrister Mike Ozekome? You listened to everything he said, and that is it. So I still believe that one party system is not going to work. But as it is now, it's like we are driving towards it. The one party system. Any country that instead of we say we are living in a democracy, we are under democracy. Now we are having a one party system whereby you have a dictatorship. Any country where you have a dictatorship, as we have already explained a lot of time. He himself explained. Now he's telling you again what might likely happen, and that is what is happening already. Because everybody, all the 3 arms of government, are answerable to one person command. Because there is no objection, no contrary opinion to whatever he says, and you are not expecting country to move forward in that manner, because there is no opposition, no objection to whatever he says, no deliberation. No, he say it and you are going to comply. And we could all see what is playing out from the National Assembly to House of Reps, you see, to judiciary, you see. And now all the important sectors you could think of, now his voice has been positioned in those, have been fixed in those positions. What do you expect? What is the meaning of that? He knows the reason, he knows what he's doing. But I am still much believe the only thing is Whatever he's trying to do, Tinubu is trying to do now. Whatever the plans, whatever the strategy, whatever you have to do now, after 8 years, right? That is the only thing. After 8 years, 2031, there, all your plans, all your strategy, everything finished. Once everything finished, the people you position in those positions is finished. Then we can start rebuilding the country again. It can only take time to start rebuilding the country for us to get this country working, get the country to where we actually want this country to be, position the country in the right direction. It can only take time. It's not forever. That's the only thing, because everything he's doing now, everything is in his favor and the favor of his family and his members, right? Those people who are decamping to APC, because they know who Tinubu is, because they don't want problem to come to their state. That's why they are doing this. Do you understand? They just go in peace rather than have issues with Tinubu. It's only 4 years. After 4 years, yeah, you finish your tenure, you go. After 4 years again, which is 8 years, 2031, finish your going, you go home and rest. At that time, we now know who is who. Anybody who comes into power, who takes over from you at that time, definitely all your boys you position in those you face in those positions, they are not going to retain them. They are going to bring in their own person again to work to run the country the way they want it. So it's not going to work with your friends. So definitely at that time, if it is judiciary, what's an coup de rat, that one they will have to change it. They have to change her. Cardoso, CBN governor, they have to change him. Minister of Finance, Yemi Wale Edun, they have to change him. The DSS, they have to change him, right? Minister of Foreign Affairs, they have to change all of them. They have to assemble his cabinet, his ministers to work for him the way he wants, right? At that time, what he's doing now, everybody will start leaving party to the camp, except if APC still retain power after 2031. APC still continue again. That's where the problem is. It's two things. That's where you might think of one party system is going to work. Definitely, it is not Tinubu that will continue again after 2031, if at all he has the opportunity to continue. That's the only thing. After 2031, these people forming coalitions. Now, if it doesn't work for them in 2030, in 2031, they are not going to retire. They are going to come back again to take power from APC, because APC, there's no vision. It's visionless. They don't know. It's just to come and steal money, siphon money, and suffer Nigerians. So there's no problem. We are watching. God will surely take care of us now. The only thing is, the election in 2027, it is not between APC versus APC. It's not between Tinubu versus APC members. No, this is between Nigerians versus APC. It's Nigerians versus APC. Like I said before, APC members are no more than Nigerians. APC members are no more than eligible voters we have in Nigeria. It's just that we are not sure if our vote is going to count on that day, because normally we know that because there is no electoral reform. That one has not been signed into law. If Tinubu is popular, like I said, let's see how popular you are in my state. Let's see how popular you are in another person's state, in the south, in the east, in the north. Let's see how popular you are. Let's see your popularity. Let's see your doings. As in, let's see the strong, the mind you have, the strategy you truly have, the power that you have, that nobody can take you or sit you out of office. Do us a favor. Let that electoral reform, probably all of them, just sign it into law. That on that election deal is going to be transmission, live transmission, right? And if anything happens to the system, there will be a rerun election. They will conduct another election. And what happened, there will be no issue of glitches. What INEC did is not going to repeat itself. Just sign it into law there and leave the rest for Nigerians versus APC. Now that they've changed, I think they have appointed another INEC chairman to replace Yahoo INEC, Professor Mahmoud. You see, that's what we're talking about. Now they are appointing you at this time. What is your business? What is your job? It's for you to come and deliver. Isn't it? Anyways, please share this video and please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Be your guy runner for me now.